Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the logic behind the Mastermind game Etho is creating. I've done some work, and I think I have something that successfully is able to uh, pick out the correct number of black and white concrete powders in the answer. So the way I see it, there's basically 4 different sections to how to get this game to work properly. First, you have to detect the items that are both the results and the answers. So that's in itself its own separate task. Then you have to be able to compare guesses to the correct answer, which is a secondary task. After that is the game logic, where you take those comparisons and you do something with them, which is what I've done right here. And then finally, of course, there's displaying the results from that Redstone logic, which Etho has already done with that was a pretty nifty thing he did there. It's complicated. So right here, this is basically my logic. It is disgusting. Yes, I'm fully aware. I'm sure you could clean this up a bit. I might try to do that, but the more you clean it up, the less compact it's going to be. And yeah, let me explain how this works. So, whoops, I might have accidentally bumped my mic and destroyed the rest of that video. So we'll start again. I think I just said this is the logic behind what we're going to do. And yes, it doesn't look pretty, but it does get the job done. So basically my idea is that, let's fly over. This is my little demonstration here. So let's just say you've got 4, let's get some concrete powder. Let's go with these colors. Sure. Let's say you've got your guess right here. It's like, or this is not the guess, this is the answer or something. And we can put the guess as a grid as well. So maybe the guess goes like this. And there's basically 16 sets of comparisons you can do that determine black versus white pig. So for each part of the actual answer, you need to compare it to each one of the guesses. So if the first position agrees with the first position, you get a black. If the second agrees with the second, you get a black. Third, fourth. And then if other ones agree, you get a white. But the key thing here is each one of these pegs for the answers and for the guesses can only be used once. So for instance, this is blue, and these match, you'll get a black peg. And let's just assume that this was blue as well. And let's change this. This one, even though they match, you can't get a white peg from that because this answer is already being used with this one. So you can't get a black and a white peg from that. Similarly, if this were blue here, you can't get a white peg from this one and this one because this is already being used in conjunction with this. But you will get a white peg from this and this. So right here is basically a 3D representation of the logic, and the height of each of these 16 blocks here depends on their hierarchy, basically. So these are the 4 black pegs, and so in each column and row, you can only have one of these selected. So if, let's say, this one's selected right here because they're the same, then none of these comparisons and none of these comparisons actually can mean anything because this block has already been used for the answer and the guess. And as a result, you can only actually get 4 possible black and white pegs because you can only get 1 in each row and column. And you can pick any hierarchy you want. Obviously, black pegs are on top. I just went left to right, so anything to the right gets trumped by anything to the left, and also anything up here gets trumped by anything back here. So you get this pattern. So for instance, this comparison and this comparison don't beat anything, so they basically will get knocked out in a lot of times. So assuming that the first 2 steps are complete, where you've already identified the answer and the guess and made those 16 comparisons, this is the little gate basically I've made in order to complete the result. So what you would have is you'd have a line of redstone coming in for each of these 16 comparisons. And I have a block of redstone here, but I probably shouldn't. There wouldn't be. That's just for demonstration that when this piston sticks down, basically it cuts off this wire. And that's the entire point, to cut off this wire. So basically we get our 16 comparisons coming in. Some of them are on, whether they agree or not, and some of them are off if they don't agree. And basically what happens is this here is basically the wiring in order to perform this hierarchy of logic. So for instance, if I power the first one, which is equivalent to this guy right here, it's going to make these 3 answers and these 3 answers not possible. So if we fly over here, you'll see that these 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh no, wait, did I mess up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I might have a mistake here. I'm going to just keep recording and then probably have a jump cut when I fix it because there's some mistake clearly in the wiring. 6 of these should extend downward and block off the signals. And as a result, even if, let's say, well, this is perfect. This one is putting the answer 1 with guess 2. So even if this were on, say, its answer, its comparison doesn't get let through because this is also correct. And as a result, you don't get a white pig here because it is blocked. Additionally, let's say for instance, we're going to say that this is a correct guess. The first 2 match. The second 2 match. The third answer matches with the second one, and let's just say the fourth one matches the fourth one, or actually this one right here. The third answer meshes with the fourth guess. As a result, you're going to have this one is going to be selected because it's a black peg. This one as well, and this one would usually have hierarchy over this one. So if you're not careful about it. Sorry, if you're not careful about it, the fact that this peg is on will shut off the piston and block this result from going through. So basically what you need to have happen, what's going to happen is you have to tie these lines up to here. So as we can see here, I'm basically powering this line, which is the same as saying that there is a signal coming in from this first comparison. So what we'd want to have happen is not have this block of redstone here, extend this all the way, and have this be what powers this particular row. And as a result, what happens is that this block right here, the second peg, because it's black, will make this one not valid because it's using the second guess, which is already being used for a black peg, and it will shut off this input, which as a result allows this input to not be shut off. And so these will be the 3 answers you get. Even though this one would normally shut off this one, because this one's getting shut off by this one no longer shuts off this one. The reason I'm using pistons here, I'm using pumpkins because they don't get pushed by the slime blocks. Sorry, the reason I'm using slime blocks is for some reason, and I don't fully understand what the problem is, but sometimes, I need actual stuff. Sometimes, when I have my piston like this and I extend it, and there's this redstone wire running through, it usually just retracts like normal. But for some reason, every once in a while, it seems like the wire that's getting cut off here keeps the piston powered, even when there's no power coming to it. But not always, which is confusing. So I added 1 level of slime blocks, and then the problem was still happening. I don't get it. I don't know how. So I added a 2nd level of slime blocks, and now we don't have that problem anymore. It seems like the redstone wire down here doesn't power the piston at all. But I'm going to fly through probably in spectator mode this logic so you can see exactly what's happening, but I'm going to first figure out what the error is because there's clearly an error. I thought I went through and checked them all, but I'm going to fix the error and then check them all just to make sure that all of the inputs correlate to the correct thing. So I'll be right back. Side tangent. See, this is what I'm talking about. I thought 2 slimes fixed it, but like, why is this dude powered? There's nothing. There's literally nothing anywhere near it that's powering it. And like I can break this block down here. Doesn't affect it. Doesn't affect it. That affects it. Like what? Why was this slime block powering it? I don't understand at all. Am I missing something with the pistons? Like what is the deal? You can see I've been playing with the spectator mode to see what was wrong. But I'm gonna fix it. I'm not actually sure anything was wrong. I think it was just that. I don't understand. So there's clearly a flaw with the system in that somehow the pistons remain extended when they are not powered. But yeah, so that is an issue. But let me just go back quickly, verify to myself that all of these are correct. But if anyone knows why there's that problem, because if that is a problem with pistons, that they can somehow get powered that way, then the solution will not work. But I'm assuming I'm just missing something obvious. But yeah, let me just quickly get everything fixed and then I'll be right back. All right, I fixed the problem. So basically there's 2 main ways that you guys can copy this and use it in your own worlds, or if Etho decides he likes this plan in his, I can either go into spectator mode and just fly around and you can take lots of screenshots, which I will do, but I think what's probably best is if you understand what I'm actually doing here, because it probably works better if you build it yourself. doesn't take super long, though you have to test each thing because every time you make a change, it messes everything else up. But basically what's happening is, and you'll want to do this yourself, is, as I said, you'll want to, basically, I'm going to use the repeaters right now, connect the front side to the back side, which is, at the moment, where I'm actually doing the wiring. So let me just build this up real quick to demonstrate my point. Basically, you're just going to connect the front to the back, yeah, and for each one, they'll be able to power this wire here. So in this example, I'll be able to remove this, especially if I put a repeater here, this block. So that block basically meant that the first two of the answer, the first one of the answer and the guess matched, so we should get a black peg. And that knocks out 6 of the options because there's 6 lower hierarchy combinations such that we get, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but there's 6 lower combinations that we don't actually care about if this one's correct because we've already used this guess in the guess and this item in the answer. So I'm actually going to put this exact example out there where we get these 4 match, and let's make something where that's the case. So we've got blue matches with blue, yellow matches with yellow. Then we want the third guess to the second guess to also match the answer, so we're going to make this one yellow. And then we want the fourth one to match this as well, so this is yellow. And then we'll make this some random color green, which doesn't actually match with anything, and we'll make this some other random color. Let's go with orange. So that would give you this set of combinations here, where these 4 with the redstone blocks generate the combination we have, where those, I believe those 4 are compared to be the same. So these are the same, this is the same, this is the same. Oh, I guess we'd also have one right here, if I can put it. Perfect. But this one will get deselected by here. So let's make those 6 here. Let's pretend that what's happening is we got 1 here on the first one, and then we've got 1 at the fourth of the first one right here. Then we have the 1 gap, and then the second one, and then 1, 2, 3 gap, and then 1, and then 1, 2 gap. So 1 gap, and then we have 1, 1, 2, 3 gap, 1, 1 gap, 1. So basically this is a way of representing the same thing there, where you could have redstone wire basically connecting all of these, and then some of them would be off because you wouldn't have this redstone block there. That was just for testing. And these would end up being on because they were selected in the item comparison phase. So in this case, when we have the 6 on here for this guess, we only want these 3 to produce answers. So what's going to happen is you would power them like so, but I'm just going to use blocks for now. So that one would be on, this one would be on, this one is going to be on, there's going to be a gap of 3. Oh, interesting. I bet that's supposed to happen. Some of them are basically subsets of each other. So gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a gap of 1, which is that. I think I messed up here somewhere. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is another one, and then 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, it doesn't actually matter the example. But basically, what's going to happen is, because this one's on, it's going to block out some of these answers. So even if, say, this one is on, it's going to get blocked because this piston is extended. So the answers that this one would block are not blocked because it is blocked by this result, which ties back to what I said earlier, whereas this answer would block this answer, but it's getting blocked by this one, so this can actually still result in the final result. And at the end here, you could basically just continue this right here, and these are your results. You won't want to continue it here, but the ones that don't get cut off, yeah, it would be here. They have to both not get cut off by the system, and they have to be on in the first place in order to pass through this logic. And as a result, you get your answer, and then you can do some logic to determine which ones are black and white powder. And I think you'd probably want to actually organize this where the first 4 were all the black pegs, and then the final 12 were the whites, because in this case, for instance, like this guy is one of the black peg answers. It has to snake all over the place to get the results we want. Whereas if you put them in a hierarchical order rather than in the actual linear order I picked, then you'd only ever have to turn off ones to your right, which would probably make this a lot simpler. But I'm now just going to fly through it in spectator mode now that I have basically explained how it works, what the purpose is, and yeah, so you can try to copy this exactly. There are a lot of features in here that are very important, such as these slabs so that wire can pass underneath them. I have wire passing through blocks. This piston, or this repeater, I think gets powered by this block when this one's on. There's times when I use repeaters so that wire can pass next to each other without interfering. There's even a couple cases, I think down here, there's one where this repeater is just in the right spot that one of these runs out of redstone, so it doesn't get powered, whereas it would get powered in a different case. So there's a lot of, there's like blocks right here that make these lines disconnected. So there's a lot of very important features that if you miss one of them, it'll mess the whole system up. So I would probably advise just understanding the concept where certain of the cases being turned on doesn't allow for other cases to be turned on. Because that particular guess or answer position has already been used. And probably just build it yourself, but if you want, you should be able to understand it based on my fly through, hopefully. There's not too many complicated places that you can't see by just a fly through, but there are a number. Stuff comes up from the bottom, it comes up from all sides. And yeah, so let me guys know what you think. I'm pretty sure this does work, except for that one issue where for some reason, some of the pistons, is this happening again? Oh yeah, see, I just turned them all off and this piston remained extended. I don't get it. It's always this guy too. So maybe I'm missing something, but there's no redstone on anywhere near it. I even turned that one off. So I don't understand why this is up. And if I go back into creative and I break that, it fixes itself. So I don't get it. But yeah, so cool. Let me know what you think, and hopefully Etho sees this at least, though he probably can come up with something better because this is pretty disgusting. But yeah, so I'll probably try to look into the item comparison stage next and see what I can do there. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.